Hi Diane.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for taking some time to have a chat with me today. I'm Sara from Essentially Flowers Training. I'm the person that runs the Diploma in Flower Essences and Vibrational Medicine, and I'd like to introduce you to Diane Campbell, who is one of the graduates from the diploma. So again, well done for completing everything, Diane.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about how doing the diploma and mostly connecting with the flower essences has changed you, um, and changed your practice, because you're a very experienced therapist and were already, so how that's changed you. So I'd like to ask you first of all, what drew you into studying flower essences professionally, so meaning in depth, as you have
Yeah.
done?
I'd used the batch essences quite a number of years ago. Something I really don't know where my interest first came from, but it was offered as an additional skills training as part of your continual professional development. So I went along and did a weekend, and actually even before that I remember being bought a set of the essences for as a Christmas present, the original batch ones, and just kind of used them very sort of very left brain, very kind of, oh, this is the one for this and this is the one for that. And then did this additional skills weekend where I met the healing herbs version of the essences, and I bought a full set of those as well. So I've got both ranges there, or both sets. And I've been teaching it on an introduction to therapies course, again, very much about looking at lists and working things out on a very logical way. And not really working very much with the pictures of the flowers or that kind of thing, just very much from the words and the meanings and the descriptions, that kind of thing. And then it was through a friend, a colleague that had done the first course. It was something that I was interested in, but I think I was tied up with something else at that time. And then when she spoke to me and said about how wonderful it just ignited something, some passion in my heart that just, I knew I had to do it. Even though I'd promised myself after my yoga training I wasn't going to do it anymore, because I've gathered quite a few qualifications over the years. But it wasn't a head decision, it was a heart decision to embark on the course. So I signed up for the course and I've never looked back.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because you already know about the batch essences, and of course we include these in the diploma, but we also look at them from the topical point of view, don't we?
Yeah,
So how did that expand your knowledge, looking at them from the floral point of view and the body
that was
mapping? How did that
yeah,
expand your existing knowledge of the batch essences?
it really really deepened my knowledge. I'd spoken to you about the body mapping when one of my cats was poorly, and you'd said about applying them topically and given me the relevant points, and that had really helped her. So I'd actually bought that book. Then again, I was being manipulated into doing this, was I being guided into doing this course. So using them on myself, I really really I was impressed with that. I've used it quite a bit on myself. And then when I saw the floral acupuncture book, really impressed with using that. I did a treatment on myself, very much on the go all the time, and sort of chasing from one thing to another with teaching yoga classes and therapy appointments and all that kind of thing. And I did an elm floral acupuncture treatment to myself, and I couldn't believe how incredible. I could feel it straight away, and it just felt as if you've ever worked in an office when there's been lots of computers and lots of people at their desk, and you don't even notice the noise of the computers humming and the lights and the electricity and all that kind of thing, and then you get a power cut and suddenly it sort of goes and all sort of powers down and there's silence. Well, I felt that go through my body from the top right the way through to my toes, and I thought, wow. So I was really impressed with the floral acupuncture, and then I continued to use it over the next few nights, and I really found some sort of peace and tranquility, and it just reminded me of how powerful these wonderful little bottles of essences are.
It opens up a whole new dimension, doesn't it, when we can actually put them on the physical body, and although we're not treating, as you said, you were treating your sense of feeling really busy, so being overwhelmed, which is elm, but actually, so we're still treating the emotions, but how, when we apply them physically, we feel them more physically.
I've been really impressed with that.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. So that's really good to hear how this really just it enhanced your whole world of knowing how the batch essences can help. And of course, once we've done it with our own bodies, we can then pass it on to others really easily and safely. So the other thing that I'd like to ask you about, because I know, as you already mentioned, you were already experienced in using the batch essences. In fact, you were teaching them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the diploma, we cover 12 ranges in total, which is quite a lot. How has learning the other ranges enhanced your knowledge of how flower essences can help?
It's really kind of deepened and expanded. I came from that very logical background, so getting to know even the batch essences on a more kind of vibrational and an intuitive level, because I'm very much working intuitively much more now. I think I always did to a certain degree, but with things like that, coming from an aromatherapy background where you're taught this essential oil does this, and it's contraindicated here, and again working very logically with them. It was, originally it was difficult to then swap over to think of the energetic side of things. But the more that we use them and experience them on a very physical level, it just really kind of expanded my whole knowledge, my intuition. I'm working much more intuitively with things. Even my yoga practice, I was always taught to do very detailed lesson plans before I went into to teach. And I found this quite tedious, but I found that I'm a bit more trusting now, where I've got an idea of what I want to teach, a particular posture that we're going to work towards, and I just kind of go in, and postures speak to me. That they just come to me, and I know how to prepare the body to get into that particular thing. So it's kind of really expanded my experience, and it made it much more colourful, bright, interesting. And so the different ranges, it's been wonderful to meet all these beautiful different flowers. I was quite ignorant of flowers, and I do remember being very aware of my limited knowledge of flowers. And, it's getting there bit by bit. So, yes, certain ones that you're really drawn to, and others that you're perhaps not as drawn to.
So tell us a range now, share with us a range that you absolutely love, that you hadn't used before.
Well, I like the Spirit and Nature range. Kind of quite early on, it feels a bit daunting. You're very aware of what knowledge you haven't got. There's all these essences with all these wonderful properties that I felt very limited in my knowledge of. So the Spirit and Nature range I liked because tomato essence is one of my favourites anyway. But it was a nice, simple little 20 essences in the range. So it's quite easy to kind of, get the whole range and be a bit more connected with them, and the cards that can go with them can be a little sort of reminder, and they were very practical in so much as they're the flowers of fruits rather than just flowers, so like the tomato or the lettuce or avocado, or even the spinach, of course. Very playful little essence that we look at on about at number 3 on the course. And also the flowers of the Orient range that I was drawn into, which we don't actually cover, do we? But Claire does it.
You take the flowers. You take the flowers of Orient and much of 11. Yes, you do. Yeah.
So I was very drawn into that and had to have the whole range, and it feels very sort of supportive, very feminine. And as it happened, my case studies were sort of older, more mature ladies, similar age to myself. And I was drawn. It was like my heart was telling me I needed to have this range, and I would use them with all my 3 ladies that I did for my case studies. So it was the right thing for me to do, and so I'm very drawn into doing a little bit more work with them.
So that's really nice to hear, because both of those are ranges which are made by very well-known people. I mean, Spirit and Nature is Leela Davey, very well-established producer, very experienced lady, and Claire, of course, is one of the pioneers of flower essences, using them in our daily lives. But their ranges aren't well known. not really. I mean, they're widely available, but they're not on the tongues of people. So isn't that lovely that you've incorporated them into your practice, and in ways that you wouldn't have known from a very deep bodily? You were led by your heart. Yeah. So that's really, really opens my heart to hear you talk about that right now, and as I share with people who first begin the diploma, I certainly would never expect people to come on board and learn deeply all about all the 12 ranges. We experience them deeply, and in fact this is how I first trained myself with Claire Harvey, and it's where my love of working with different ranges came from, because it's how I trained myself and how Claire, that's what she gifted me with when I trained with Claire. So it feels very natural for me to pass this on, but my awareness has always been that different people are going to pick up on different ranges and take them forward. So it's great to hear what you've done there. So I'd also like to talk to you a little bit, and you've already touched on this in what you were saying before, but before you came on the diploma, you were already a very, very experienced therapist, and were running your own practice and had been for many years successfully. So you are a reflexologist, you're an aromatherapist. What other things do you do?
Oh gosh, I get a bit embarrassed because I've kind of gathered qualifications along the way. Indian head massage, Reiki, up to Reiki master, but was never felt drawn to doing any attunements, strangely enough. I've also trained in hypnotherapy, a seated acupressure massage, so working with acupuncture points with massage. Can't even remember all the others. I've got my certificates all on the wall behind.
And of course you're a yoga teacher and run very successful classes in the Wirral where you live in the UK. So with all these lovely, lovely therapies on board, how has learning about flower essences and becoming a practitioner, a qualified practitioner in flower essences, enhanced all these other things?
It kind of goes hand in hand with the other therapies. That's what I like about it. I do add it to my treatments when I do massages. I'll add relevant essences into that. Or if a person needs support away from their actual treatment, I can send them away with other products, perhaps sprays that perhaps got combined essential oils and essences in the one thing, so I've actually physically put them into the massage oils that I'm working with, or again the using the body map book, or not necessarily the floral acupuncture but more the body map. I might have a little look and see if they've got a problem in a particular area, and then I'll add that to the massage oil when I'm working on that part of the body, and that's been really good. Essences have come into my yoga. I've used them in kind of a space clearing way in the studio. I've got a beautiful studio in a gym, but they decided they were going to change it and let it not just be used for Tai Chi and yoga and Pilates. And they put spinning bikes in there and they wouldn't take them out. So we had this beautiful yoga studio with these dreadful bikes in the back. And we'd follow a frantic class in and do our yoga class straight after it. And they left kind of a negative print in the room. So I made a lovely spray with some essences and some essential oils and just kind of sprayed around the room to clear the energies before we started our practice. And that the students noticed that they could feel a difference in that, which was quite nice. And I also bring them in some of the visualizations and meditations that we do. I send them off to meet a particular flower. They don't know necessarily why they're going there, but so that's kind of influenced my yoga practice as well. And I'm very open about the stuff that I do. I don't know whether it's an age thing or a confidence thing. You can think about me what you like, but this is what I do and this is what I love. So if you don't like it, your problem.
So it's helped you just become yourself more, has it? With more confidence.
Yeah. Much more, yeah.
So how has your own personal journey as a professional shifted and deepened since you brought the flowers into your life?
I felt that actually studying on the course was very therapeutic. It was like taking some time out for yourself and working through some things that we've all got things that come back and trip us up every now and again. So it was good to go back and work on some of those things, and it's just, say, deepened my knowledge of myself, and issues that I've dealt with. There was some negative stuff happened for me while I was going through the diploma, some bereavement and that kind of thing. And the essences and the essential oils helped me through that. And I'm now finding that I'm drawing people to me that have got those similar experiences, and I know firsthand what will help them, and they know it's coming from the heart, and they'll often accept that help, which has been lovely. I mean, even as much as a student in a class, a yoga class I covered for somebody else this week, had an emotional reaction to the centering that we did at the beginning and come to speak to me at the end. And I've guided her to that flower essences would help her. So hopefully she'll get in touch with me and come and have some flower essences. So
it sounds as if,
it's just,
especially by sharing what you just said, and I'm sure this happens anyway, that when we do this deep work, we actually become the flowers ourselves. So just automatically going into people's presence shifts them.
Yeah.
So that's very beautiful. Yeah. So you mentioned the blends of essential oils there. Now this is something that we both share, because we both train on behalf of Aroma Vision and using the cat's eye blends. We both share this love. Now on the diploma, participants have the option, if they wish, to train in the use of the blends of essential oils that have been made specifically for energetic practices. And I know you train people yourself as an Aroma Vision trainer locally to use the products. So can you share with us a little bit about how using the energetic blends helps you as a person, and how it's helped your practice and maybe some of your clients too?
Yeah, I've actually, that spray that I used in the yoga studio, that had I think it was the white essential oil blend in it on an energetic level, and I don't know, some other yarrows and things like that in there. The two that come to mind are, say, the white essence that I used, and the heart chakra essence is one that I do.
Heart chakra blends of oils.
Sorry, heart chakra blend. Yeah, so I get essences and essential oils mixed up. They come out wrong. The essential oils. I found that when I was struggling, or when I do feel that I've given too much of myself and I need a bit of nurturing, for me it's a nice thing to get in the bath with some essential oils and some essences. And heart chakra blend will always be there, a bit of comfort, a bit of unconditional love for myself, with some other, I've got a little concoction that I put together, and different essences add themselves to the concoction every now and again. So they're the two that come to mind most vividly.
Yeah, so using the energetic blends, how can that develop somebody's energetic practice? Because the great thing about the blends, I think, which we need to mention, is that you don't need to be an aromatherapist to actually train in them, and you can get a qualification without being an aromatherapist.
Yeah, it's actually that enhanced. I've been an aromatherapist for sort of 16 years, and again, learned it on a very linear way. But since I discovered the blends, I don't tend to use single essential oils anyway, and learning about them on an energetic level, it really kind of blew me away. I thought aromatherapy was fantastic anyway, but this added dimension was just incredible. I couldn't believe the added impact. It can be quite subtle, but quite strong. You can use it in mister sprays. You can use it, say, in the bath. You can add them to shower gels, or you can just have them in the room, and they'll kind of work on I suppose a similar way to the way that the essences work, but there's a fragrance to them as well, so it just adds that other extra layer. And say, marrying the two together, it's a match made in heaven.
Well, again, it's something that's many people use, but it's not widely known. It's certainly not widely taught. And when we work with flower essences, we learn that we don't treat the physical. We learn we treat, if you like, we balance the layers of energy that surround the body, which are the subtle energetic layers. And of course, when we start to bring the essential oils in as also, of course they have that. Everything has the potential to, your yoga practice, my Tai Chi practice works on that level too. But it's when we shift our awareness to that actually the magic happens. Yeah, so it's very cool, isn't it? Misters are wonderful, aren't they, to shift. Very lovely. Yeah, so...
And also if people are about taking something internally, it's a really good way of using it. My I would say 6-year-old, she was just 7-year-old niece, loves coming to visit and making sprays and creams and things. And so a spray is a good way for her. Parents are not necessarily that open to all the things that I do, so it's a way that she can use essences or essential oils in her bedroom. If she can't sleep, she knows she can spray it in the room, and she loves being involved in all that. My little apprentice.
Yeah, and what a gift, huh? What a gift that's going to help her grow up into a much more aware young lady and take that forward in whatever way that she needs to. So, for anybody that lives in your neck of the woods, tell them, share them with them now, or maybe people. I know you run yoga retreats. That's hard to say. That is. So, and obviously we can travel to things like that. So, tell everybody what you run locally and how they can find out more.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got a website, www.thelavenderroom.co.uk. I run a lot of classes locally, have the yoga classes, usually 5 a week, but I will cover for other people if need be. And I run yoga weekends. It's something I always was interested in doing, and the students quite like it. Tend to be small, so between sort of 6 and 10 people. It starts to get too big, it kind of separates. It's a nice little group, and I go to North Wales, which is only a stone's throw away from us, in the northwest. I'm very lucky to be where I am, really. We go to Llandudno and stay in a little hotel, and again you can go and be very sort of, there's some retreats where you can go and stay in a little wooden house with a composting loo and an outside shower, but that's not for everyone. And a lot of the students that I've got are in gyms and things like that, and that really isn't their cup of tea. So I've discovered that if I go to a little independent hotel where there's some nice food and there's a nice little studio, a little room that we can use, and so we go and do weekends there. So I've got one at the end of March, which is full. I've got one at the end of June and another one in September, because there was a few of my regulars couldn't make the March date, so I've added an extra date this year. And we'll also do things, because once they've had breakfast in the morning, because they don't skimp on breakfast, but perhaps do a little energy workshop where we'll talk about essences or essential oils. And I have used them, in the meditation practices and that kind of thing. Give them something to hold and see how because often they're very new to energy, even though they're in yoga. It can be quite they're often drawn in by the physical, aren't they? The practice, and it'll do me good. And then when it kind of opens up and unfolds, and they realise it's a much bigger thing. Like the iceberg, you only see the tip of the iceberg. It's a much bigger thing.
And of course on your website as well, people can find out about the therapies that you offer, and also find out about your yoga classes.
Yeah, and so I'm hoping to run some workshops and things. I'm seem to be being drawn into teaching others about essences and perhaps essential oils together, because I do teach a therapy course for the local college anyway, and it seems to be moving away from that now to perhaps some private courses and perhaps one day little workshops or afternoon workshops or something like that.
And of course, on the Diploma in Flower and Vibrational Essences, we have currently 2 of you, there may well be more in the future, who are now flower buddies. So you are one of these flower buddies, and anybody that comes on the diploma has the extra support of a graduate, and Diane and Linda is the other current flower buddy. So if anybody's watching this diploma now and is kind of trying to make up their mind whether it's the right thing for them or not, and wondering whether to get in touch for a clarity call with myself to take things forward, do you have any words of encouragement?
Yeah, I would say, and I say this to my yoga students all the time, switch the head off, switch all the thoughts off, and just to go from the heart. If there's something in your heart that's saying, oh, this is speaking to me, then don't just put it to one side and ignore it. Have the call. There's there's nothing negative about that. Have the call, speak to Sarah and clarify, whether it is the right thing for you or not. It's meant to be sometimes, and we just need to take that leap of faith, don't we? And it's definitely made a difference. Even if it was only, if you were going for therapy for yourself, it would be very well worth it. You do learn so much about yourself on the course, and then you come out the other side and you've got this wonderful skill that you can pass on that knowledge to others. And the support is there. Please use us. I'm proud to be a flower buddy. I think it's a wonderful title. Don't sit at home and be worrying on your own. Share with others, and there's always support. I've been blown away by how much support that there is, particularly on the diploma. It's been really, really good.
And how does living your life from your heart space change you?
Wow, it's so different. It's just, it's like it's gone into multi-dimensional from 2D, 3D to, I don't know, 5D or something. It just feels like you're working with all the senses. And, you find that you filter out all the things that you don't want in your life and you get the more positive things. And I do remember some wise person saying something about your, how you are at the moment is it the 3 people or the 5 people that you spend most time with. So I'm really pleased that the people I spend a lot of time with are other therapists and essence practitioners, very positive and very supportive. So I feel truly blessed.
Yeah, thank you, Diane. So I love what I do, and it continues to bless my life as I see people like yourself, taking the courage in their hands to dig deep, to delve deep, and to come out the other side, sharing these gifts as well, because my goodness, the world needs us. And the Nature Kingdom really, really, really is wanting to walk alongside us right now. We both need each other more than ever. We need them for support, and they need us to raise that awareness. So walking hand in hand with the Nature Kingdom and allowing more people to learn this, and just by talking about this now, whether or not people come on the diploma or not, it's sharing those gifts. So thank you very, very much, and thank you for sharing everything that you've experienced from your heart.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diane. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.